Welcome to a special edition of Heroes Without Headlines. Today, in honor of Veterans Day, I welcome 3 area veterans.
Please allow me to introduce my dad, Nick Jeffers.
And my grandfather, Tom Nest.
And Captain Hart from the Navy ROTC at UI.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
77 years old. I live in Colfax, Washington. I'm here at the request of my grandson, Austin, and seeing what's going on. Retired, obviously, and that's about it.
I'm Captain Shannon Hart. I'm the Marine Officer Instructor here at the University of Idaho, Washington State University NROTC unit. And there my job is to train, guide, and mentor college kids, student midshipmen who are preparing to become Marine Corps officers.
I'm Nick Jeffers. I'm Sarah's dad. I previously ran the WSU and UI Air Force ROTC program. Retired December 31st, 2024 after 20 years, 6 months, and 29 days. Happy to be here.
What branch of the military did you guys serve in, and why did you choose that?
So I spent 4 years at the U.S. Naval Academy as a Navy midshipman, and then I traded blue camouflage back when we still had the Navy blueberry suits for green camouflaged and commissioned as an officer in the Marine Corps, where I currently serve. And I chose the Marine Corps. I wanted to serve on the ground. I didn't want to fly a plane, be on a ship, or be on a submarine, and wanted to be part of the A-team. So that's why I chose the Marine Corps.
I didn't choose anything. I got drafted. This was in 1968. So that's about it.
I wanted to be a Marine, but found out I couldn't have sideburns, and all they did is eat crayons, so I joined the Air Force. I went to the Air Force Academy to start off college and find a way to pay for college and find a way to serve. After 4 years there, I tried to cross-commission into the Army, and much to the chagrin of my commanding officer, after going through the whole process, I pulled back on that and decided to join the Air Force, and then spent 10 years in Air Force Special Operations, and then 10 years on staff for the latter half of my career before landing kind of a dream job out here running ROTC.
Okay, Tom, or Grandpa, what skills or qualities are important for anyone wanting to serve in their communities?
Well, I think I think the qualities a person needs is, first of all, wanting to do it, identifying a need and try to take care of that need any way possible. Just be a productive member of the community and serve in any capacity you can.
Yeah, I'd say just find somewhere to serve. Find a way to make your small piece of the pie of the world a better place, whether it's, could be your job, military, police, firefighter, doctor, or it could be just, how you serve. Maybe you're coaching youth sports, maybe you're volunteering at the soup kitchen, maybe you're, volunteering at the library, whatever it is, just, find some place to serve and do it the best you can.
I was not terribly involved as a high schooler, sure as heck not as a middle schooler, high schooler, or really until the end of my college career as far as helping serve in my local community. So maybe in some weird way I'm trying to make up for it now. I just studied and played sports while I was in both high school and college, and then realized there's a little more to it as I got older. And so I've continued that now. I'm doing junior ROTC. And so I frequently am teaching kids how to button shirts, tuck in pants, and look like a decent human being.
I think it's important to serve our communities in the way we can, especially when we're young, because these decisions will affect us for the rest of our lives. And when we do that, we can set ourselves on a better course.
And example for me, I'm on the mountain biking team, and just recently we built a new trail. Now, a lot of the mountain is actually private property, so we have to get permission from the person who owns that land. But yeah, it's pretty cool to build a new trail. And oh my God, with the Looster, it was super fun.
Austin, is that Mamba?
What?
Is that Mamba?
I think so.
Can dads do that too, or is that just for kids only?
My dad hasn't tried it yet.
Cool. We should shred together, man.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a young person interested in helping out in their community?
I'd say, find somewhere to serve, find where you want to serve, but also don't overthink it. You know what I mean? Serving in your community is just, finding a way to serve and, controlling the controllables in whatever you're doing. So it's your day-to-day interactions, all those small things with maybe it's your classmates at school, maybe it's your teammates, maybe it's, that person in line in front of you at Target who's taking forever, maybe it's the person who cuts you off in traffic. But really it all comes down to just how you treat other human beings, and the old saying of how you treat other people who can do nothing for you says a lot about yourself is very true.
To me, getting involved in the community just opens up other doors. As you join a volunteer group, whatever that group might be, that can lead to other opportunities. You become aware of other agencies or organizations you can volunteer for. But the most important thing is, as far as I'm concerned, you expand the number of people you know. You expand and grab from their knowledge from these people. So, it's just an ongoing thing that'll happen throughout life.
Awesome. Now, Grandpa, how has the military changed since you last served? You might not know a lot about this question, but try to answer it your best.
Well, I got drafted in 1968, so we're talking lots of years ago. As I mentioned earlier, I got drafted. That draft is no longer active. The pay's obviously changed. I wouldn't know how it's changed because, like I said, I haven't been involved in the military in, 55 years, so.
Yeah. So, in what ways does the military benefit the community? And on the flip side of that, how does it take away from it, if it does?
I'd say the military benefits the community in a lot of ways. It's in large ways from deployments, fighting overseas, offering humanitarian assistance when natural disasters hit. But it's also the small things here in the community, whether it's, highway cleanups, doing Toys for Tots drives that are 2 units that our ROTC unit here does. But there's also one other significant way that the community helps, that the military helps the community, and a way that a lot of people don't normally think about. But one of the missions for the Marine Corps and the military writ large is to take young men and women, and train, develop, and strengthen them, and then return them to society as better members of their community. So I think that's, sometimes unseen or not really thought about way that the military helps its community.
For me, I see the military, the ROTC, which I see very active in the community. It gives a sense of security. I'm glad to see that because as a nation, we will always need the military in good times and bad. And I don't see any negatives about the military being in the community.
Yeah, the average person, I think, sees it without seeing it during wildfire seasons, humanitarian aid and disaster relief. You frequently see the Guard on the front lines or supporting some of the frontline efforts of firefighting and mitigation, to handing out food and water and building shelters in the local communities. And it builds into that citizen soldier concept that you don't know that your neighbor might have served prior. You don't know that John or Jane down the street is a part-time guardsman on the weekend, and all of a sudden you do once they get activated. And then frequently I think you see those people bring those, not just their skills that they've learned in the military, but the sense of civil service, community service back with them. That's one of the things that you see a lot of times in community leaders, whether it's a public library, a school, city council. You see an overrepresentation of 1% of the population who served, continuing to give back and try to service their fellow citizens.
Okay. Dad, where did you serve and for how long?
First duty station was California. That was not bad. I was living in Monterey for a year. Then I went to Louisiana. That was less good. Then I went to Florida, to Texas, back to Florida, to Germany, and then to Idaho. So all over. Early on, your mom and I were moving every 2 years. and then I got a couple duty stations that I had an entire 3 years there. And then once we got to Germany, and I was trying to stabilize our life so that you could go to school and that we could raise your sister after she was born over there. We stayed in Germany for 6 years, which was a treat, especially since your mom's a travel fanatic. You guys both are over, I think, 40 countries now. You won't appreciate that for years to come. And then finished out here in 2020, at the end of 2024, and that wrapped up 20 plus years of service. I loved serving. I love being retired more.
Who did you look up to while serving, and why?
I mean, I could talk this entire podcast about different mentors that I've had that have had a positive impact on me. Definitely looked up to a lot of people while I was serving, and I wouldn't be here today without them, whether it was, the upper class midshipman when I was a midshipman at the Naval Academy, whether it was, those Marine captains when I was a lieutenant who showed me what right looks like. And even now as a captain, just watching those majors, lieutenant colonels, and colonels who I've worked with and who I strive to emulate, have all had a really positive impact on me. I think the military is a really strong value and sense of mentorship and community, and it's always, those who kind of are ahead of you, more experienced, are always willing to, offer you that guidance and leadership that is so crucial.
And that guidance and leadership will stay with us for the rest of our lives, and that's why it's important to have mentors in the military and veterans like y'all.
Even in just the time that I spent, I had a really good teacher in 4th grade that definitely completely changed my perspective on school. So props to him.
Who was it?
Mr. Bascom. I really liked him.
Let's honor him by naming him.
Yeah.
I guess the people that influenced me were basically my brothers. There was 4 of us, and we all served. And so when one would get out, they'd come and tell you, do this, don't do that. They give you ways to get around stuff. So I'm very proud of that. Recently, within the last 2 years, like I had indicated, all 4 of his brothers served, and we got chosen and gotten the privilege to go on the honor flight. The honor flight is for individuals that have served. They fly you back to Washington, D.C. You see all the neat monuments from each of the services. It was a very impressive, it was an impressive day. It was a long day, but a very impressive day.
So my uncle actually served in the Navy, and he lives in Washington, D.C., and we went over to visit, and we went to all of the monuments. And it was actually really cool to see all the names and just the structures themselves.
The Arlington Cemetery is very impressive.
It really is. And that was really cool and pretty inspiring to see those and see the determination and perseverance that everyone who served had.
How many of you sitting here have somebody in your family who has served in the military? Go ahead and tell us about it, Zoe.
Well, my uncle is actually currently serving in the military. Well, that's what I think. I'm not sure. But he lives in Pennsylvania right now, and he serves in the Air Force.
My other grandpa served in the Coast Guard.
Hi, I'm Grayson. I'm the technical director. My grandpa served in the Afghanistan War, operating supply planes, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Maybe your grandfather and I crossed paths a couple times. My brother's in right now, Sarah's uncle, so she's got 2 people serving. He's a major in the Army. He switched over from flying Apache's helicopters to fixed-wing C-12, and he's in Washington, D.C. now. And just a year and a half ago, took Sarah and me around the city and showed us a whole bunch of sites, gave us a good walking route. And I'd been there several times, but I hadn't been back in 20 years, so that was the first time, I think, since I'd put a uniform on that I'd been back to D.C. as a tourist. I had plenty of time at the Pentagon that I was not interested in revisiting, but we got some inside tours there. He worked for somebody fairly important, so we got some access that wasn't normal. It was neat.
My son-in-law currently serves. He's in the U.S. Air Force. They live in Texas right now, and they're moving to Phoenix pretty soon. But I did want to ask a question. I don't normally pop in on our podcast, but this is such an important one. How can we honor those who have served or those who are currently serving?
Well, I think that's what Veterans Day is about. Call anybody you know who's in the military, thank them for their service, or if they're doing it right now. For example, I remember this one time we were on a road trip and we saw some people on bikes. They had like Navy. My mom was like, "Just let them pass. This is a way of thanking them for our service."
So somebody in the Navy was speeding. Got it. Yeah, I think one of the things you can do too is the older generation had a much different reception coming back from what they did than the current generation. But the one thing I try to tell everybody of all ages, you guys are very young for it, but be an informed citizen and an informed voter. What goes a lot further in my eyes than saying thanks for your service is understand what's going on in your local community at the state and the national level, understanding what and how your politicians vote and how to make your voice heard, so that we put our national efforts to good use.
Yeah, I'd say just do what you can to serve within your community. And, you might not be right now going overseas to fight and win wars, but, you can do small things that have a big impact here and now in your community. So don't forget the power that has. And then just with the uniform members in your community, like, do what you can to help them out if you see them struggling. Maybe it's, a young couple with a couple kids. One of them is deployed. Maybe it's helping out the one who's home with the kids, rake the lawn, do some housework, bring them a hot meal. It just kind of comes down to being a good person and, taking care of your neighbors, taking care of your community.
I think it's really important to focus on the fact that it doesn't have to be Veterans Day for you to really thank somebody for their service. It can be any day. Just seeing somebody with a sweatshirt or a hat or anything, just saying thank you for their service, it really tells them how much you appreciate them.
As I mentioned before, it was a real privilege and honor to be on the Life Honor Flight. That was, it's one of these things you'll never forget. So, yeah, I mean, and if you think about it, the honor flights are all driven by private donations, corporate donations. I flew out of Wisconsin with my brothers, and there was one lady there that paid for the whole thing. I don't know what it cost, but by the time you pay for the plane, by the time you, there was 120 of us, and each one of us had to have what they referred to as a guardian for support. Some of the people we flew back with had medical issues or were in wheelchairs, and yeah, it was just a very impressive. Just very impressive. A day, it lasted a day. So.
And I think I remember you got in the news, correct?
Yeah, we were on TV. Since there was 4 of us brothers, we were on the TV. So that was interesting with the 3 brothers. So fortunately, all 3 brothers have a very good sense of humor. So we had some good sparring back and forth with that.
Why did you choose to serve, Dad and Captain Hart?
So I wanted to do something, serve other people, make the world a better place. I wanted to do, something cool. So that's kind of what drew me. I wanted travel and adventure. And honestly, so I guess I'd say that's why I joined. And then why I stay and desire to continue to serve in the Marine Corps is the high quality people that I get to work with, and just, the community of people taking care of other people and kind of paying it forward and passing it down, as well as the cool opportunities that serving has allowed me to do.
I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so every TV show told you if you wanted to be cool, you needed to have camo on. I was voted senior year, my senior superlative was most likely to end up in jail, and so I had some people to prove wrong, I guess. I didn't realize it, but I needed a lot of structure and discipline, and most people actually like that, even if they're opposed to it. I'm a lifelong contrarian, and I did 20 years in the Air Force, but most people respond well to to structure and discipline, and we all seek it actually, even when we push it away. But I got into college. I got into University of Southern California. It was $34,000 in the year 2000. My dad laughed when I asked him if he'd help me pay with it. He can take surfing as a class there. I thought that was pretty cool. He thought that was cool, but nothing that he was going to pay for. And so going to the Air Force Academy, I found allowed me to pay for college, and then get a commission too, and allowed me to serve. And I think it served me and the nation well, in the sense that it allowed me to give back and grow into a much more decent human being than I was at the time at age 18.
For me, it was basically a family tradition. Like I had mentioned earlier, all four of his brothers served. My dad served. My uncles served, so it was my turn. So you did what you did. So.
Do you have any other advice for young people who wish to serve in their communities?
If you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, and I don't, I'm 43, I encourage you to think about the military. I'm not a recruiter, so I don't get paid if you guys join, but if you're finishing up high school and you don't know what you want to do, military will pay you, give you some job training skills, teach you to tuck your shirt in, act like a decent person. And if you like it, stay in past your first contract, your first tour, 4 years. You don't like it, get out, take your skills, your training, probably some sort of secret or top secret level clearance, and generally speaking, they're going to put more people under your control and more money than is appropriate for an 18 to 22-year-old to have. And you can take those skills back to your household, your family, your neighborhood, your community, and use them there. And if you like it, keep staying in. And if you don't, go out and do something else as a civilian.
Yeah, I'll leave you guys here with a couple things. I'd say figure out what you want to do and go pursue it. Be motivated, but more importantly, work hard and be disciplined. Kind of, that consistent effort and focus day in and day out is really what's going to help you, lead you to success in whatever you desire to do. Second thing is be humble and open to feedback and constructive criticism. This is the only way that we get better. Same reason that a coach for a sports team is maybe hard on you. It's because they care. They want you to get better. And so same thing with, anyone who holds you to the standard and pushes you to get better. In the Marine Corps, we have a saying, the standard you walk past is the standard that you set. So if I see a Marine walking around with no rank on his collar because he forgot it, or, I see a piece of trash in the ground and walk past it with not picking it up, that's essentially the new standard that I'm setting, and that's what I'm condoning. So just, if someone's correcting you, it's because they care, and be open and receptive to that feedback, knowing that'll make you better. And then lastly, I just reiterate, find a good mentor, somebody you look up to, somebody who you're like, hey, I want to be just like so-and-so when I grow up, or, I really respect and want to try to emulate so-and-so's attributes. So find a good mentor, ask them questions, get guidance from them, and, that'll really help you set yourselves up for success.
Well, thank you all for being here. I think we're almost out of time, and I do want to say thank you to our audio technician, Grayson, for setting this all up. And thank you all for your time and being here. We'll see you on the next episode.